For now, I'm the deputy political leader of the National Democratic Congress. I am the caretaker for the constituency of St. David. And I am here, Pablo, to talk politics and an NGO program.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. Well, as we get started, you have been in recent times putting out some recordings speaking about various issues. And there was one recently that I've taken a clip from. And the clip, my technical operator has it lined up to be played. You know, is a clip that I call David's Voice, because you're speaking on behalf of the people of St. David's. You're speaking on issues relating to St. So let's hear David's voice and we take the conversation from there.
In particular, St. David. In St. David, our troubles are many. Deplorable roads, unemployment, nepotism, poverty, environmental issues, threats to our patrimony, lack of basic services, and a host of others resulted in soggy morals. So when I speak, I represent not only my views, but that of most residents in the parish.
Yes, you speak on behalf of most residents in the parish, is what you say. And you speak on there's nepotism, there's all of these other issues facing St. David's. Give us a little background as to, elaborate on that statement that we just played that was taken from a presentation that you did to the nation recently. We've lost him, right? Oh, Murphy, behave, Murphy. Murphy is misbehaving today. Murphy, behave yourself, Murphy. Yeah, I am hearing you.
All right. And also,
but I seem to have lost my guess.
Yeah, I think he get cut off somehow. He get disconnected. Okay, he's back in now. We're gonna put him back in here. All right. Let's see how. Yes, he's back. He's back. He's admitted. So let me see what happening back here. Then. Okay. Okay. Turn your camera on, brother, and let's get this on. Let's see. His camera is still off. All right, I think he's back here now.
So,
all right, okay.
What happened?
You ran away from us?
Well, yeah. I don't run away from politics, comrade.
Yeah. I don't know. As I said, Murphy is just misbehaving today.
I'm trying another device there, so
okay.
I think my computer maybe just press up on me there.
Okay. Oh, you experienced what John experienced a while ago.
Yeah.
Probably. I think your presence is causing some harm, Pablo.
Murphy is misbehaving today. Murphy is just misbehaving today. So I don't know. Did you get to hear the clip at all?
I got the beginning of it. But I think I know what you were talking about.
If you can just replay the clip.
Okay, that's
for us, please. David's voice.
Yeah, let me just shut back up this thing, right? Once you go out, it disturbs the whole frame, the frame. So kind of set back up the frame properly here. and then go back into the clip. Okay, let's use this. All right. Okay. All right, hold on, Pablo. 2 minutes. Bring that up. All right, the clip, David's voice. Let's do this. Here it goes.
In particular, St. David. In St. David, our troubles are many. Deplorable roads, unemployment, nepotism, poverty, environmental issues, threats to our patrimony, lack of basic services, and a host of others resulted in soggy morals. So when I speak, I represent not only my views, but that of most residents in the parish.
So, that clip was taken from a recent presentation that you did. And you saying that all of these issues are evident in St. David, and that you are that voice speaking on behalf of the people. Elaborate on that a bit for us.
Well, Pablo, I came into the politics arena in 2013, and I before that I have been involved in a lot of social groups. I've been involved in Calypsos. I've been involved in people's organization. As a young man growing up, I was responsible for running 3 scout troops in St. David. And from then onwards, I was involved in football, cricket, you name it. And I've always been in doing things in the interest of the people. And hence the reason why when I got the call to go into politics in 2013, I didn't hesitate. Okay. What is happening in St. David now is that St. David really and truly lacks true representation. It's the politics in Grenada is not a politics of consultation. It is not a politics of accountability. It is not a politics of transparency. It is a politics as if a group of people are involved in running something like an estate. So they get up in the morning and what they mind tell them to do, they do, and nothing is and they are not doing things in the interest of the people. So those issues that I've outlined there are basic fundamental principles that as a politician you need to pay attention to. You cannot avoid or escape being called upon if the health service is not up to mark. You cannot hide from the people if the roads are in deplorable condition and the people are paying the kind of taxes that they are paying. When you look at the gas tax in Grenada, on every gallon of gas that we purchase, you are asked to pay $5.50 to the government of Grenada. You are asked to pay your license, almost $200 every year, your driver's license. You are asked to pay to keep your vehicle on the road. And yet for all, the government is saying that they cannot find money to fix the road. Something has to be wrong. They are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. You look at the services that is being offered by the police. Young men coming from our villages, coming from our parishes, who they know what it is like, and they are willing to serve. But if they are not furnished with the necessary amenities and equipment, they would not be able to function in the way that they should. And we are calling on the parliamentary representative to pay attention to the constituency. You need to consult with the people. You cannot have these mega projects taking place in St. David and destroying the mangrove and not a single word. Not one day you will call a town hall meeting or a meeting in the parish and invite the people to discuss the issue. You are, at present, the parliamentary representative is staying away from the people and the void has to be filled. And hence the reason why I will be echoing the voice of the people. I will be highlighting the problems in the constituency. And I will also be telling the people what are the plans of the National Democratic Congress in going forward.
You speak about the lack of consultation on issues. and you speak about the destruction of the mangrove. And I did see there was in the public domain videos of people being restricted from certain beach fronts and so. I also saw that there was to be some kind of public conversation on that issue. Um, did anything like that happen? Who was behind it? Was the parliamentary representative or any representative from the government side involved in that initiative?
Well, Paul, you will know that St. David have a very rich history in terms of not sitting down and allow these things to happen to them. And you will remember the event that took place in 1973 with Lord Brownlow at
Okay.
Lassages, when Morris
Yeah.
Bishop and the leadership of the NGM came forward and decided that they have to stand up for the people of St. David. This time around, the villagers came together and they staged a demonstration.
Okay.
And after the demonstration, they called a meeting in the constituency, in the village, and they invited the owners of the property.
Mm-hmm.
I attended that meeting, Pablo, and it was a very good, civilized meeting. The owners was allowed to speak. The people who did not like what happened was allowed to speak. And at the end of the day, 2 days after the meeting, the beach was opened up and the people have full access to the beach again. There was another incident that took place in Fort Judy, not within the parish, but just on the borderline. And that matter deserved to be looked into. The parliamentary representative has not spoken on the matter as yet. But those are things that we'll be looking into. And I don't think the people in Grenada wants the kind of violence that is taking place throughout the world when people's rights are being trampled upon. I think people want to first and foremost give amicable solution um, a chance to work. And if it doesn't work, I think they will not sit idly by, but they will stand up and make sure that they have total access to the beach. You cannot deprive people access to the beach in Grenada anymore. This is an old ancient thing, and we have to step up and make sure that our rights, our patrimony are well protected.
Um, we'll be getting back a bit to beach issue later on down the road. But I want to continue with the St. David's angle and the delivery of service. And in that regard, I want to play a clip that I call Emergency Issues. I want us to listen to that clip and we'll take it after that.
Today, I focus on the lack of emergency services in our parish. We can all relate to having medical emergencies. A broken bone, breathing difficulties, severe pain, someone collapses. If you are a resident of St. David, please do not get sick after 4 or on weekends as the health services are closed. During opening hours, only basic services such as dressing and antenatal care are provided. No provisions for serious emergencies. An ambulance is sometimes parked in one of the stations, but sadly the driver lives in another parish. Pray that you and your loved ones does not have a medical emergency, as you will have to hire a bus, hire a vehicle, bomb a ride, or hop the first bus and hope you get to the general hospital before you die or have the baby on the way, as happened recently. In the biggest geographical constituency, there are no fire trucks, not one. The harsh reality is, if your property, God forbid, is on fire, you will likely sustain major or total loss, as you will have to wait for a truck to come from Grenville or St. George. We, the people of St. David, deserve better.
Posiela, elaborate on that.
Well, Pablo, in this modern times, in this day and age, um, since I put out this tape, this clip, I have been getting consistent calls. Not one call has disputed what I am seeing there. And this is sad for Grenada, especially in this COVIDious times. And those weaknesses, Pablo, has been exposed. They were there a long time because we have been talking about it for ages. We were in deep negotiation with the St. George's University to establish a teaching hospital in Grenada, which would have given us a golden opportunity to improve our health service. Plans were well on its way to implement that program. The National Democratic Congress happened to lose the election in 2013, and this plan was put on the shelf. Are we joking with the health of the people? Pablo, in the parish of St. David, there is a medical complex built, partially equipped, where a doctor, a nurse, the orderly, the ambulance driver, there is sufficient room to accommodate these people 24/7 on a shift system. That has not been implemented in the parish. And therefore, citizens are experiencing they have to travel all the way to St. George. And when they reach to St. George, they cannot guarantee that in the next 3 hours, they will get service. I have heard from people, I have seen it, I've witnessed it for myself. People arrive there before midnight, and 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, they are still there. This cannot be accepted. The health condition in Grenada need to be addressed. And we are heading, people are panicking probably, because the government is hell-bent on opening up after they're hell-bent on opening up the country, but they are not paying a particular attention to the health service. And this is cause for concern. Everybody want to feel a bit comfortable. They want to feel like if something happened to them, if any one of them was to get sick as a result of the virus, they should be some health service should be there to take care of them. And that is not happening in St. David, and to a wider extent, Grenada is suffering.
You know, it is interesting that you have highlighted this issue as happening in St. David. And I mean, it's scary to think that a constituency as St. David, a parish like St. David, I mean, St. David is a big parish, is a big place, and that there isn't a fire service there, that a fire truck will have to come from Grenville or from St. George.
Itself, there is only one attempt that was made many years ago to have a fire truck in St. David. And this present administration do not see the need for it. And I don't understand really and truly. Sometimes you wonder why taxes have been collected from Grenadians and if they cannot get these basic services. Are a bit getting fed up now, and they are talking about those little bits and pieces that they took for granted many moons ago. Because what COVID has done, it has really and truly exposed, and it caused people to start thinking not only about COVID and the virus, but thinking of the health service in general. Many of us have to go to Trinidad or Barbados or the United States if the cash is available. Basic care. I met a young man who went to the doctor, and he told the doctor you're not feeling well. When the doctor examined him, he found that his pressure was way above. The doctor said, I will have to send you to the general hospital. The young man said to the doctor, I'm prepared to pay you any amount of money to visit my home on a daily basis. I'm not going to the general hospital. And the gentleman refused to go, and the doctor had to administer to him at home. That is the kind of confidence, the low level of confidence that people have in the health system. And if that is not addressed, I mean, if you don't have people, you don't have a country. So the health services, the human resources must be taken care of. And it's time that this government wake up and smell the coffee, because the people are going to wake up, teach them a lesson.
Now, speaking of speaking of health, there's the other issue of us being able to feed ourselves. And to do that, we have to be producing at a certain level. Also, in addition to that, if we have to be more economically, right, sustainable and independent, then we would have to be producing certain things, and we would have to, our processing will have to be beefed up. Our major crops for export presently are nutmeg and cocoa. And there's been talk about a merger. Recently, you've been making some comments in that regard. And I want to play that clip that you, with some comment that you made on that, and to give you the opportunity to speak on that merger concern, because that's been a major talking point. And I believe you're the agricultural spokesman for the party. So if you can speak on that merger issue and on the wider agricultural issues. So if my technical operator can play the clip merger, and we'll take the conversation from there.
We are opposed to, and what we will stand up with the farmers with, is the high-handedness of the Kit Mitchell-led administration in terms of wanting to do this merger, not in the interest of the farmers, but really and truly in the interest of a few people who is on their back to liberalize the market in such a way that you will take away all the strength from the farmers
very low,
and the organizations. And what you will have in Grenada is people will be buying nutmeg haywire, selling nutmeg.
So, seeing that the volume came up very late, can you just replay it from the start? It's a very short clip.
We are opposed to, and what we will stand up with the farmers with, is the high-handedness of the Kit Mitchell-led administration in terms of wanting to do this merger, not in the interest of the farmers, but really and truly in the interest of a few people who is on their back to liberalize the market in such a way that you will take away all the strength from the farmers and the organizations. And what you will have in Grenada is people who will be buying nutmeg haywire, selling nutmeg.
So why do you believe that the merger is not going to be beneficial to the farmers and that it will benefit just a few people? And also, I would like you to speak to, the wider issues relating to agriculture. Considering that we've seen, we have a new Minister of Agriculture, and there is great expectation as to what he actually brings to the table and the prospects for agriculture going forward.
Well, Pablo, first and foremost, I cannot understand how this present administration is not interested in agriculture. Even though the Prime Minister has made it abundantly clear since 1995 that his father did agriculture for all his life and he died a pauper. What's to that effect? But fortunately, or unfortunately, after Hurricane Ivan, thank God for St. Vincent and the farmers in St. Vincent that were able to fix. Yet fall we didn't learn that lesson. COVID has come, and COVID has taught us a great lesson. Yet for all, the administration failed to learn. In regards to the merger, I think I want to make it abundantly clear because I've been involved with, I spent 20 years in the Ministry of Agriculture. So I've been working with farmers. I work in the area of plant protection, pests and diseases. I've interacted with farmers all my life. I'm a registered nutmeg farmer also. Um, Even though I've liquidated all my crops. But the farmers in Grenada, Pablo, they are not opposed to measure. The farmers is opposed to the kind of measure that the government want to push down the throat. Anything, anything to do with measure in Grenada, Carriacou and Pitimatic must come from the bowels of the farmers. It would not be a top-down approach. And hence the reason why the government is getting the kind of resistance that they are getting from the farmers. They have already pulled back the first draft, which was considered a very draconian draft, first bill. They have come with two more bills, and the farmers are yet to be satisfied because at present, this is the only two serious organized body of agriculture in Grenada. We have the poultry farmers, we have the honeybee farmers, but they are not as organized as the cocoa and nutmeg farmers. What will cause a government to think that two well-established organizations over 70 years old, why do you want to dismantle these two organizations and form a brand new one? In your own style, in your own fancy, putting power taking power from the farmers and putting it in the hands of the minister. The farmers fully aware of what the intention of this government is. The minister will be the sole one to issue license to export nutmeg. Even the farmers will have to apply to the minister. And the farmers are telling the government, on no uncertain terms, we're going to accept that. So that is a no-no in terms of going forward. In regards to agriculture, in the National Democratic Congress, we are convinced that agriculture it ought to be one of the main economic pillars to move Grenada. We are convinced that this is where the wealth and prosperity of our nation will come from. Any other sector will have to be in support. Unfortunately, while the 10,000 farmers are convinced that this is the direction and they have confidence in agriculture, the government failed to recognize how these people are thinking, what they are thinking, and the direction that they want to go. The government is hell-bent on selling the passports of our country. They are hell-bent on the CBI program because they want quick fix. They cannot stomach a bunch of banana taking 9 months before it's ready. They want it now for now. They want it through a phone call. I want to come to Grenada and I'm paying you $1 million. They want that now. But for the last 20 years, Pablo, that direction has not benefited our people. The direction that they are investing in has created more vulnerability and poverty on our nation. And therefore, the National Democratic Congress, when we get into office, will be investing heavily in agriculture and agribusiness. Agriculture has moved by leaps and bounds over the last 2 decades. Therefore, modernized agriculture has to be the answer. And there is a notion that young people don't like agriculture. Joke you're making. The way of doing agriculture now, don't tell the young people that. Because some people still looking at agriculture like cutlass and fork. Agriculture is much more than that. There are different arms in agriculture. We have marketing in agriculture. ICT has an important role to play in agriculture. Hydroponics, the blue economy. So I cannot understand where you have 10,000 farmers directly involved in agriculture. When you consider these 10,000 farmers having an average of 3 and 4 people in the family, you understand the indirect and rippling effect agriculture can have. And there are a lot of people in Grenada working on agricultural farms. Agriculture still, despite it not paying attention, employ the most people in Grenada.
Okay.
And
So,
the time has come
mhm.
for we to fix that.
So
But
that,
here they intend to fix it.
uh-huh.
They are hearing the farmers. I'm not too sure if they are listening. They intend to fix it by replacing one minister with the other. But we are saying to them, agriculture will not be fixed by changing the minister. You have to change your attitude. The allocation in the budget for agriculture cannot be 2 to 3%. It has to be more than that. We have to invest in all the agricultural products that go to waste annually. We have to make sure that we preserve those things. And therefore, the establishment of 2 serious agro-industrial plants has to, has to be implemented quickly if our economy has to be rescued. They are trying to create another election gimmick by changing one minister and putting another one. And I know definitely they will be coming and talk to the farmers. They are having meetings with the farmers now. But you know what, Pablo? The eyes of the farmers are opening. The eyes of the Grenadian people are opening. People are coming to their senses. And what they were able to do many elections ago, it will be a different ballgame come 2023.
So we see that the government is very much focused on building, um, you know, mega hotels at this point in time, as the means for you know activating the economy, for bringing some kind of energy into the economy, because they believe that in the construction phase, lots of jobs will be created, because that's what they're saying is about creating jobs for the people. What is the NDC's position on such a philosophy?
Well, Pablo, the National Democratic Congress, we not oppose any form of development, but the development must not infringe on the patrimony of this country. It must not infringe on the rights of the people, and it must put us in a better position and not in a worse position. So any form of any development that is coming in that direction, we welcome. We welcome it. But you know, I was doing an analysis recently, and I came to the conclusion, Pablo, that the $2 billion projects that they are having in Grenada, one of them, $2 billion, lots of money. Pablo, if you take 25% of that money and you invest seriously in agriculture, we can employ over 20,000 people. That is the potential that agriculture has. Because when you talk about factories in agriculture, you're not talking about the factory workers alone. You're talking about the production of whatever product that you will be processing. You're talking about the marketing of it. You're talking about the branding and the selling. It's a whole range of areas that people will be employed. So while they are focusing on these mega projects, and I'm not hearing about how many Grenadians going abroad to study to come back and work in these projects. I'm not hearing about that. So it seems as though they are heading in the direction where when these mega projects is about to open, our Grenadian people will be sweeping and washing wells and making up beds. Our Grenadian people deserve much more than that. And we want not temporary jobs. The people deserve to have permanent jobs. Pablo, at the age of 19 years, when I started to work in Grenada, I had a permanent job. By 2021, I could have been speaking to bankers and negotiating loans. Today, we find young people in Grenada heading for 30 years, and they do not know what they call a bank book. They are having children in their parents' house because the jobs that they are getting are temporary jobs. And a lot of them in jobs where they are getting not a salary per se, but a stipend. And if the mega projects cannot revolutionize this type of jobs in Grenada, Answer the question, Pablo.
You're the one answering the questions here today. Because the next question I have, the next issue I want to bring to you is recently somebody shared a photo with me. It was a picture of a package of dehydrated mangoes, right? That is being
Dehydrated.
dehydrated mangoes. Mangoes.
Dehydrated mangoes.
Mangoes, yes, in a package. It came from the
Okay.
Philippines. And we know, and that was being sold, that is being sold in the US, right?
Yes.
We have a significant diaspora community out there, right? And so the point that the person was making was that we have quantities of mangoes, thousands of our mangoes, or the greatest part of our mango production falls to the ground and goes to waste every year, as with our breadfruit and other stuff like that. And the question is, why is it that we cannot position ourselves to have packages like that on the shelves in the US, in Canada, or elsewhere? What's the likelihood of an NDC administration making such a thing happen?
Well, I'm going to tell you straight out. We have all intention to go in that direction, Pablo. It hurts not only Grenadians, People come to Grenada and they cannot understand why we only consume about 10% of our fruits and the rest go to waste. And what is a lot of products are being processed in Grenada, are being processed in the kitchen. And the people cannot get the political will to expand. So while we give 20 years concession to people in other industries, people who are willing to invest in agriculture are not being, no attention in a serious way is being paid to them. So our policy of the National Democratic Congress, we give concession to investors, full stop. And therefore, agricultural investors will be treated the same way, like the investors, whether foreign or local, is being treated in the other sectors. I rest my case.
Okay. Brother John, I know you must have something to ask Posseid or something to say in this conversation. You come out in the country. Brother John, your mic is muted.
Yeah, you know what? Let me address that.
Brother John, your mic
all right. I'm good.
Yes.
Are you hearing me now, loud and clear?
Yeah, let's hear you now.
I listened to Posseida there,
I hear you loud and clear.
And for the life of me, the last election when the NDC manifesto our position paper was released, and the talk of having an agro-industrial plant in St. Andrews, I thought that was a winner. I don't want to. I think the whole of St. Andrews should just voted for that. That's nobody should win that seat in St. Andrews when that is announced. Yeah. You're talking about major unemployment with that facility. I've been to Grenada in 2018, and I was walking to my sister's house, and in the distance I saw what appears to be mango leaves, and I get closer, 10 feet radius of mango on the ground. I mean, I was like, whoa, 1979, 1983 came to mind, that period. That mango will never be on the ground like this. We had Mr. Michael Battis on this show. And he talked about the government of Grenada, under his leadership in the Ministry of Agriculture, had the plant, the machinery to serve the plant in Ladig. And the morning, when you get ready to go to the office to set up, the machine disappeared. I think it's in your constituency in St. David somewhere now, sitting down doing nothing.
Yeah.
Right? What would you do?
Resting idly.
Yes. So what would you do as the person who might be responsible for that area in coming win election? What would you do with that machinery? What would you do to improve the agro-industrial?
Yes, as I outlined there, we believe in agriculture. We're going to invest heavily in agriculture. In 2008, 2013, we started to go in that direction under the leadership of Brother Dennis Lett. May his soul rest in peace. We moved Maribor Farm School from 4 students to over 50 students by the time we were out of office. So we were heading in that direction in terms of training people. So it's not only about cutting down more bush and more trees and planting more bananas. We want to take, when we talk agriculture, we are speaking about the tomato seed to the packet of ketchup that you pour on your Kentucky chicken.
Right.
So it's not just planting tomatoes, harvesting it, and consuming it fresh. Because in Grenada, around December, you can get a pound of tomatoes for $6.
Right.
Thereafter, you can get a pound of tomatoes for $1. So it means that at some point in time, there's a glut on the market.
Right.
And because we are not processing, a lot go to wastage. And same thing with the mangoes. So we also brought Baran in Grenada because that is the direction we want to go. Even though we didn't have the kind of resources to establish what Baran is doing in Grenada, but we have the human resources, we have the land, we can provide the labor, we can provide the hot peppers and other products, and Baran can do the processing. And this is a public-private sector initiative. And that is one of the directions we will have to hit agriculture to achieve what we have to achieve. I'm not saying that you will get up in the morning, the National Democratic Congress is in office, and things will turn around instantly. No, it doesn't work like that. But we will do everything possible to make sure that agriculture is taken care of, not over a 4-year period per se, but we have to have a 20-year, 30-year plan to move agriculture and to move the economy and to move the people of Grenada.
Now, next question for you. You mentioned healthcare. For the last 20 years or so, the healthcare system has progressively eroded to this point. And you make mention of the young man.
And you're coming across a little low there. I heard is the healthcare you're talking about?
Yeah, the healthcare problem we have in Grenada over the last 20 years have declined. And you make mention of a young man who have offered a lawyer, the doctor, to even attend to him at home. Given the present situation, if an NDC government comes to power, could we depend on the government to institutionalize healthcare as a number one priority of the government?
Well, yes. There are 2 sets of people that we have to pay particular attention to in this country. Particular attention. The people 1 to 12, we have to invest heavily in them.
Right.
I can't stomach a young infant, an infant, have a serious medical problem. And any state, any government will say to that parent, if you cannot pay the bill, that child will die.
Right.
I am also considering the people over 60 years, the retirees, people who have retired, 60, 70, 80, who have worked so hard for this country. Now they are facing serious medical bills, coming consistent, and we have to turn them away. And then this administration will rush to go back into serious negotiation with the medical school to see how they can help. Many doctors graduate from this piece of rock on an annual basis. They go all over the world. And you are telling me our healthcare system is so deplorable? The medical people who live here and go all over the world, they must have a role to play, directly or indirectly, in helping us with our medical health issues.
Right.
And let me tell you something, brother. You see the amount of inflated costs we have in this country? Corruption is serious business in Grenada. If we could cut back on corruption, if we could get value for money in our projects, the ordinary man, I've been speaking to people in the construction business. When you ask them how much money this costs, and they tell you $300,000, $500,000,
a lot of the construction men hold their head and wonder, where did this money go? We have to cut back on this inflating costs. There is a recent announcement of $10.5 million to repair one little school in Carriacou. Well, when I heard that, I thought they were building 2 more schools just to repair. If we could, the money we can save from corruption, inflating costs, rather, if we could save this money, our healthcare could be taken care of much more, in a much better way than we are doing at present. So all these areas put together. I mean, I cannot tell you when NDC come in office, we're going to get some gas and money going to flow like water. I cannot sit here and tell you that. But I'm saying to you, from the outside, when we can cut back on this corruption and inflating costs, we'll have some more funds to take care of our health.
Right. Another question I have for you. In terms of the leadership and the state of the NDC now.
Speak a little louder because a lot of rain is falling in Grenada.
I'm asking about the present leadership and the status of the NDC preparedness to challenge the next election. There are a lot of people crying out, asking for NDC to step up the game.
No, don't even continue going because I'm not hearing you.
Okay. Are you hearing me better now?
I think it's the rain that making a lot of noise outside.
Okay.
It's raining by you now? It's raining by you now?
Heavily.
Man, we have brilliant sunshine in.
I expect
brilliant
sunshine just now.
Hey, listen, we have brilliant sunshine in Sunset City. You see, I say we have brilliant sunshine in Sunset City right now. So maybe you should come up and get some sunshine. We have brilliant sunshine in Sunset City right now. You know? Wow.
I wish you could hear me really clear. Are you hearing me better now?
Rosiela, are you hearing? Are you hearing now? Whoa.
Pablo, I'm hearing you.
You hearing me?
Wow.
Okay. Well, actually, the question that John was asking is it has to do with the NDC's level of preparedness going forward, because what he's saying is that in the public domain, you get many comments and many concerns being raised as to the NDC's preparedness to challenge the green machine, as it is called.
Yeah.
So where's NDC at, and what can we expect in that regard? You're not hearing? You didn't hear that? Wow. That rain is pounding in your neck of the woods, man. Oh.
Try again, let me see.
Wow. Aye? Yes, I'm hearing you. Listen, I'm saying what John was asking. Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me?
It could be an internet problem now because you seem to be breaking up.
Oh wow. So you're not hearing me at all?
Hello?
Hello?
All right. I think we're not hearing Pablo. Not hearing us.
Let's take a short break then with
Black Stallion?
With Black Stallion. Yeah, we can make it if we try. Because we have to keep on trying.
All right.
You are hearing me clearly?
So the territory broke and they say that we set a jamming. So no foreign country But now is the time to show we patriotism. For we country facing is that is our. So our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, it have one little thing that I want you always remember. We could make it if we try, just a little harder. If we just get one more try, life could be much sweeter. From the time we analyze just what was the problem, yes, we start making very positive moves to solve them. We fire the old set on managers we had working, and it's a new group we went and we bring in. And if the goods we require, them new managers not supplying. When election time come back wrong, it's new ones we bring in. But if it's one thing about my people, I could guarantee that they would never ever put party before country. And if the country facing is that is sour, and our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, we have one little thing that I want you always remember. We could make it if we try, just a little harder. If we just give one more try, life would be much sweeter. When the treasury was full and happy time, some was enjoying. It's in over and laugh until poor people was living. Now the treasury flat and the country come back to square one. Poor people remain on the same old ghetto injunction. But look at the economy return today on some footing. If the same poor people 10 days and cola they're taking. And without social unrest, poor people paying the price. Because they know for the country, nothing too much to sacrifice. And if the country facing is that it's our, so our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, it have one little thing that I want you always remember. We could make it if we try.
We can make it if we
Yes.
try. Just a little harder.
Yes,
Pablo.
if you try, I'm telling you, it's we really have had to be trying. We really have had to be.
10 minutes.
Yes, we really have had to be trying today. You know.
Pablo, your
there's so-
video is off.
There's been so many years. There's been so many challenges. Yeah. I was saying, you know, we've really had to try hard today because there's been so many different challenges, you know, coming our way. So can you hear us now, Poseda? Hello, can you hear us now?
You're breaking up big time.
Wow. I'm
Yes.
telling you, everything is just
Stuttering.
yeah. Everything is just going haywire today. I don't understand what's going on. Yeah. Brother John, are you
wanna hear
hearing
me
me?
clearly?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you clearly. That's the thing. I'm hearing you clearly. I don't know why.
I'm hearing you, and then I'm hearing a long echoing sound after I pronounce the words.
Okay. I don't know what could be responsible for that. Huh? Brother John, is there any way we can what's on your end? What are you hearing on your end, Brother John?
I'm hearing both of you.
You hearing both of us well?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you are very low. You know.
Yeah, but yeah.
Right?
Are you hearing me better now?
Yeah, I'm hearing you better now.
Yeah.
So Adrian, are you hearing me, Adrian? Hello?
Adrian have left the building again.
Wow. This has
his camera is off.
Yeah, his camera is off now.
Yeah. His camera is off. I don't know why and what happened here, but every time it goes off, it's let me see if I bring back in that way. Yeah, it's a difficult day, a character building day, Pablo.
It's a character building. Boy, Murphy just misbehaved today, man. I don't know what's the matter with Murphy.
It's a character building day today.
Murphy just decided to raise his ugly head today. You know, so I don't know. Well, actually, when I was arranging with Persuader to be here, he did indicate that he will, you know, it's an hour that he can give. I believe I would have mentioned that to you.
Yes,
And
yes.
a while ago, you would have heard him say that he has about 10 minutes more.
Right.
So, and I mean, look, that 10 minutes is being taken up with he not being able to hear us and so on. But there's certain points, there's certain issues I wanted to bring to the fore. And seeing as we hear, and well, I don't know, one of the things that one of our listeners has been saying is that the link, well, look at that, we're on here, that she had difficulty with the link when she clicked the link that was shared. You know, other things keep cropping up and stuff like that. So, I don't know. Is Osira back? No? It's not. Brother John.
Yes, sir.
There is a clip that I have on, you know, on there that says Youth Man.
Yes.
Right? And there's one called Exploitation.
Yes, sir.
Play these two clips for me, please, and I'll just talk for the rest of the time.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, man, I go talk.
Okay, go ahead.
I go talk. Yeah. So if you play these two clips, Youth Man, and then follow it with Exploitation.
Yeah.
Some people a lot of people like him, some people don't like him. But there is not one person who say that man is a stupid man. You ever understand that position? No, the man is a smart man. So if he wanted to fool all you, he would not let all you get 4 years. When we looking for, when we go towards election, whether it's 6 months, whether it's 1 year, we go in there. Now we will make things shaky for all you. When we was there, we don't want to vote on the state, we don't want to vote for it.
But let me tell you something about this government. And let me tell you something about the leader of the government that you put in charge of you. The person responsible for you, your Prime Minister. What you know about your Prime Minister? You see, I don't have to say anything. But I have to tell you about what you know. You have a Prime Minister who understands what you're going through. You understand your needs. And he's like your father. And he sends a very clear message to you. And the message is that this government is clearly committed to the Imani program, to the Hope program, to any program that has unity. And that nobody, absolutely nobody going home anything. And so, when they meet you on the street and they ask you, hey, when they're sending all you home, say, you see me? I have faith in my government. My government kept me for 4 years, 3 years in structural adjustment. You think they don't send me home after structural adjustment and things get nice? No. When things gets better, what do you think this government going to do? What will your prime minister?
I I want you to play Exploitation for me now, Brother John.
We have a lot of students around different parts of the country in private sector and public sector areas performing services, some of them for long periods of time without any security. We think that is extremely unfair. The Imani program is supposed to be 2 years. Some of them have been there 4 or 5 years without any serious security. This cannot be.
Grenada's longest-serving minister acknowledged that the program has not been executed in the way it should, suggesting that the labor of many of the young people has been exploited.
If they are providing a service in the private sector and they're there for a period of time, the private sector should create an opportunity for full-time employment within 2 years. And therefore, anything afterwards cannot be accepted. So we are getting the data for all those students from every single area. And the time they are there, and we're going to be looking at that data and doing what we have to do to provide a security for those who are performing and doing the work that they have been doing for a long period of time. So we're going to be correcting this. We have to invest more money in the supervision, proper supervision.
Brother John? Brother John?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You heard what I just played? You heard what was just played there and what was said?
Yes.
Now, the first recording was in the run-up to the 2018 election. You heard the second minister. You heard her referring to the trainees having been kept throughout the 3 years of the structural adjustment program, and what can be expected going forward when they get out of structural adjustment program. You heard prior to that, the other minister, the other parliamentary representative, saying that the prime minister is not a stupid man, that he kept them throughout the structural adjustment period, and we're going into an election. Do you think he is going to get rid of you now? Yes.
Is he?
The other one said he's like your father, so he's going to look after you. Yes.
It's a mindset. It's a cultivated mindset.
Essentially, what they were saying is in total opposition to what we heard the Prime Minister saying afterwards. And these words that the recording of the Prime Minister is coming recently upon he taking up the office as youth minister. And he is saying that these young people were exploited, that they were kept there for that extended period, and it was not supposed to be that way.
So why would they keep them?
On the other hand, you heard the minister say that she had a message from the Prime Minister. Who is speaking the truth? Somebody has to be lying.
Exactly.
To the young people.
You see, Pablo.
Somebody has to be lying to these young people. Somebody is not speaking the truth. And it just goes to show you the level of dishonesty that has been perpetuated by this NNP administration in order to use that quote-unquote, that training program, that Imani program, the Holy Grail, as a means to buy political patrimony of these young people.
You see, I have this sleep paralysis. You know, and I think a lot of times that people have that. They tend to fall asleep quite easily and forget what is happening in the country. And the very nature is spoken of word of exploitation. The Prime Minister is saying that the private sector should, within 2 years, that should be done away with. but you create the condition for them to stay because you keep paying into it. If you want it to end, they know that if there's 2 years out, they should get out of the program and let it go out and find jobs or create jobs for themselves. But you don't have no program for them after. If okay, let's say the private sector doesn't have room to employ them, why not teach them how to fish? Let them go out there and how to set up a small business in the corporate. Okay, this year 5 people living. Set them up, even though it's agriculture, even though it's in the medical field, the training. Open up a clinic. Something to do with the advancement of the people of Grenada, Carriacou and Pidimati. But you can't depend only, say, okay, the private sector is supposed to create employment for them and so on. The man running a business, he won't take people that would not make him make a profit. Everybody in business for their own interest to make money. So if I'm going to take people in because I want to satisfy a political agenda, I cannot do that. My taking people must be based on the need of the business at any given time. So 2 things have to happen here. You give the businessman an incentive to bring in people on the job and create and he have to create the marketing for the product that services that he have. So focus on the people is key. So if you're not focused on the people and the development after they leave Imani program and the corporations that they'll be going into, if you're not giving them incentive to expand their business or to do better to export and to better export their crops or whatever they have to doing, apart from the local market, they can't create employment because they don't have what it takes to produce more. They don't have a market. They don't have enough incentive from the government for them, to do more. So they operate within the constraints, what they have right there. So I can't take in 5 money because the government want me to take them. I can't afford it. Providing the government give me the money to pay them. So the government and the prime minister are talking about they've been exploited. I mean, who is the main exploiter of the money?
But the thing, and that's the point.
Who is main exploiter?
Therein lies the dilemma, because there is no exit strategy. If you remember correctly, not so long ago, Dr. Mitchell was talking about establishing the need to establish an exit strategy for those in the Imani program.
Yeah, but where is it?
Speaking at that time, he also referenced the issue of these trainees being in there for more than 2 years, and they shouldn't have been there for more than 2 years.
Okay, so who is overseeing it?
The point is, there you have 2 female ministers of the government saying to those trainees that the man is not a stupid man. Election is coming. He kept you there for 3 years. 3 is more than 2.
He's taking care of you.
He's there for 3 years.
He's daddy.
During the structural adjustment program, he kept you there for 3 years. Election is coming. You think he is going to let you go? Right? So, I mean, anybody who listens to this knows that there was never any intention to let anybody go.
There's no intention.
No.
It's to keep.
There was never any intention to let anybody go. The other minister came and she said so. She said, I have a message for you from the Prime Minister. And she went on to say, so when they ask you when you're going home, tell them never. I'm not going home.
It's amazing. It's amazing how when
it's dishonest.
When we out here.
And that's the thing that the Prime Minister keeps doing. And the people who were at that press conference, they would have heard all the things that he referenced to here about the exit strategy and him saying it's a 2-year program. They would have heard him say all these things, but they're not going to ask him these questions.
No. If you remember, one young lady a couple months ago made reference to people asking a question and saying, I'm bigging her up for the thing that she said at the press conference because they was afraid to speak about it because they're afraid of the backlash from the government, right? So it's 2 things happening here: the fear of losing the job, the fear of political pressure, in the wider term of the word. So in essence, there's a lot of people making the claim that, okay, well, we have freedom, we have justice, we have good court system, we have everything going on here. We have a democratic society, right? And everything is fine. Yet, you have people who cannot speak up because of the fear of the prosecution. And if the society is just and fair, people should have no fear of it.
True. You
understand? So, to the point that people are fearful to speak out, it tells me that they are being monitored, being watched for anything that they says. Recently, in one of my posts, one young man, old man, whoever he is, asking who is John Kelly's. Well, I didn't have to answer it. I did answer him, but if you look at the post, people had addressed him, because I left it up to the Grenadian people to really get back at him and them who tend to challenge the norm. Yeah? So, at the same time, those people making those claims to us in the diaspora question our integrity and our commitment and contribution to Grenada. They're looking to see our names up associated with some political movement to be worthy of a claim in Grenada. But we don't have to do that. The evidence is there. The Prime Minister speaks a lot and we hear him. The Minister speaks and we listen to them. There's no longer a one world, one little island story now. It's an international story. When they speak, everybody hears. Everybody have a vibe somewhere that they hear what they're saying. And we're going to hold them accountable for what they say. And when the Prime Minister making claims like that, one have to hold him responsible for the claims that he makes. When the female ministers making those statements, election coming again. And like I said, would they let them go or would they keep them? What do we expect? What do the electorate expect from the new National Party coming this election? What other promises that will be made to them now that they would have to say, okay, yes, they promise us we're going to vote for them again. Apart from the e-money, what other program do you have in place to satisfy the hunger of the Grenadian people?
As you mentioned, that what comes to mind is the comment that he made about hiring more supervisors. That you need better supervision. So you need to have more supervisors. I mean, we're in this time when the government is saying that they lack for funding, that the level of revenue intake has significantly been depleted. Right? But there you have the Prime Minister talking about increasing the number of supervisors, about supervision within the e-money program. Okay. He's saying about persons who's been there for how many years and so on, and they're doing whatever jobs, and you need to make them permanent and so. You have people who's in the teaching service and the different levels of the public service. In spaces, they're doing work where the position is vacant, right? And they have been filling these positions for longer than some of the imanis have been there. And they are not being given permanent. In fact, recently, they were being denied their salaries or their wages because in particular schools, the assessment did not come in time. So as a consequence of that, all of those temporary workers were not to be paid for an extended years. You had that issue recently. I spoke to that. I mentioned that some time ago. It was one of the people who was so affected that raised it with me. And I did an audio release on that issue. So what are the priorities of this administration? That's the question. And how genuine are the are the utterances as it relates to the development of the youth? And is that the reason why we have the Prime Minister now becoming the eldest minister for youth affairs that we've ever known. You know? Yes, is that the reason why that he's positioning himself once again to be the papa, the one who looks after the interest of the young people, the one who ensures that these young people are treated in a way that they feel beholden to him.
Right.
Because when you listen to the two female ministers and what they're saying, it leaves you to conclude nothing else. No, I am not here speaking on behalf of the NDC. I hold no elected position within the NDC. I used to be the host of the NDC's Heartbeat program. I do not have any authorization to speak on behalf of the NDC. I'm speaking here as a citizen of the country. Right. I'm speaking here as somebody who has an entitlement to question things. And I believe that more people, right, more Grenadians, need to exercise that right, whether you living in the country or not. You have an entitlement to exercise that right. And it's dishonest of us who live here that when those of you who live overseas raise these issues, that we begin to come up against you and to say that you don't live here, so you don't have a stake here. Because when we are financially challenged, it is people like you and others who contribute, and government themselves are on record of speaking about the whole issue of remittances and what the role that it plays in the economy of the country. So it's dishonest of them when they're turning around now and saying that these people don't live here, so they don't have a right to speak. You see, when is the remittances that they send here that acts as a buffer that cause some people don't have to go to sleep hungry.
Exactly. You know, it boggles my mind because, for me, I don't blow a trumpet around Grenada saying, look, I help this family, I help this person and the further. Sometimes I take offense sometimes, but I say, you know what? These people, because they have nothing else to counterattack with, so the lowest blow is to say you're not living here. We do what we can for the people who ask us for help. And I myself, I'm willing to do what little I have to sow a seed in somebody's life to help a child go back to school or an adult to get food for the next day. I'm not here to sit down and say, okay, I did this for this person, I did that for a person, so people see, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. No, I'm not one of those persons. What I want to see happen is that the ordinary Grenadian could be able to speak up for themselves. And if supporting them financially in one way or the other, so that they depend on the government to feed them or to victimize them and they speak freely, then I'm willing to do that. I am not prepared to let nobody in Grenada silence me from out here doing anything. They have more of me coming if they think they will do that, because I'm not going to just sit back and put my head in the sand like an ostrich and put my ear exposed. No, it's not going to happen. For too long, I think for over the last 20, 25 years, Grenadian people have had enough of this tomfoolery and this political game that is being played and these electoral gimmicks that keep people in one way, square peg in a wrong hole kind of mentality that they can't speak out for one. And I think somebody mentioned we have 25 radio stations and stuff in Grenada. So what? If the people can't voice the political concern on those radio stations without being victimized, if the radio station personnel can't speak out with loud and aggressive tones about the government without being shut down or being harassed, what the use of the radio station? Going to play music? We had enough music. We get music every time. We want issues to be taught and to be spoken of on the radio station. So if the issues can't be dealt with, if the hosts of the stations cannot have constructive criticism about the government wrongdoing and hold them accountable and speak of the ills and what they're doing, is it only a favorable radio station in favor of the government of the day? No, we shouldn't be. I want to see more of the political concerns of the Grenadian people be spoken of on the Grenadian radio stations. You know, I'm tired with this floor bedding, you know, and taking up the tons of the flowers and put on the bed and on the political bed. I want it to be uncomfortable, so they will know that there's somebody watching, somebody talking, somebody monitoring the issues, somebody listening to what they're saying and waiting for the delivery. And if they're not delivering, then we speak about it. You promised me this, you promised me that. Where are the promises? Where's the oil? Where's the health care? Where's the shrimp farm? Where's the CBI money going? Can we see a public account of the amount of money received, where it went to? All those things we want to talk about. Is the Grenada media talking about it? Are they having an issue, having a discussion on the CBI program? Are they having an issue of the $52 million that disappeared? Where is it? Is any radio station really having a discussion about it? Calling the minister up and let's have a conversation about it.
Actually, you're not supposed to speak about these things.
But why?
No, because Dr. Mitchell has a right to do whatever he wants to do. Give the man a chance, they say. Anything he do, he writes.
You know what amazes me, Pablo?
Give the man a chance, they say. Anything he do, he writes. And I'm quoting what's been said to me. You know? Yeah, what amazes you? Tell me what amazes you.
Amazes me how the very people that in power today, at the very top, some was revolutionaries, some was counter-revolutionaries. That's a fact. Can't deny that. Some was hesitant to join in, and some joined. Those who are, what I say, manufactured in Union Island, the greenhouse effect, they was bent on replacing the government of the day then and promising a better tomorrow for the Grenadian people. Well, what is our better today? A poor healthcare system, no agro-industry, a public transportation system that disappeared, a Grenada that just disappeared with no accountability, our healthcare system after sending over 150 people to become doctors, to come back in Grenada into a healthcare system that is dysfunctional. Where are we heading? Really? Where are we heading?
And that is one of the reasons why the program, the Comfort Zone, on October the 24th, is intended to bring together some people who were actively involved in the revolution, one individual who is known, who has said publicly that he has been a detainee, and to look at the pros and cons of the revolution. And also to discuss what are the things, what are the elements of the revolution that can serve as a development or contribute to a development agenda for the country.
Right.
Because in the conversation that we were having with Adrian Thomas a while ago, mention was made about agro-processing. And I did mention about that person sending me that picture of a package of dehydrated mango that was being sold in the US. And asking the question, why can't we be doing things like that, seeing that 90% of our mangoes go to rot? See that much of our soursop, although we're exporting quite a bit, seeing that much of our soursop also goes to waste. Seeing that the majority of our breadfruit still goes to waste, and other fruits, much of our oranges and so on. And why can't we be doing these things when the revolution, which took place in 1979, you're talking about 41 years ago, right? So that revolution took place back then, and we have that situation where now, so many years later, we haven't learned anything from that. Yeah? We have not learned the lesson that we could have learned from that, that would demonstrate to us the things that we could be doing now. Because if they were able to do these things then, yeah? If we were able to do these things then and to make a difference back then 41 years ago, why can't we in this time now be doing something with it and making making something of it?
Well, let me tell you something.
Conversation on the 24th will shed some light on these things and begin to, get us to look in a different direction.
You see, Pablo, the pause that be today, right, is not about economic development. It's more about personal development. All right? So, many of us who grew up in that era, and I'm not saying the revolution was perfect. It was not.
Perfection does not exist in
right.
human domain.
And you and I probably had that conversation before about the pros and cons of the revolution. And the very people made, I remember, and I will call his name, Kennedy Boudreaux, make specific statement that they thought in 1980, when they planted the bomb in Queen's Park to eliminate the leadership of the country, they thought the revolution was on a low. So you try to use that opportunity to destroy the leadership, or to put a doubt in the people's mind. What they did, they miscalculated and understood in the Grenadian public that they rallied more people joined the militia, more people joined the army, more people get involved in the legal organization. Because they prove now, hey, these people ought to kill this thing, or we go join and support it. October 1983, the Grenadian people came out again in full force in support of the leadership of the country, the leader, Maurice Bishop. So now we have these same people, the same elements mixed in, who wanted to see the demise of the revolution and the progress that it was making. So they will not emulate the progress, because they will look back, because they haven't done anything significant. I mean, Pablo, look back at it, okay? Look back at it. 4.5 years of progress. Last 30 years. Seriously looking. What have been built, what have been done in a significant way that people say, look, and we did this, and this in the last 35 years. Apart from the jetty that they built for the cruise ship, the making of the fish plant, the fish market, and the National Stadium. Right? And then people will tell you that the National Stadium was the second next project to be taking place in the revolution. It was already earmarked to be done at the completion of the airport. The fish market was part of the project to be had. So all of this program was already earmarked to be done. What new projects have been done? So they will not want to highlight the progress of the 4.5 years. It will make them look bad. Because they can put up a board and say, left hand, right hand. 4.5 years, 40 years. Show me something. Show me something. Like a point two.
Well, my thing is, irrespective of what some people, what perception, what concerns that people may have about the revolution and what negatives that it brought. I don't think that whatever negative that exists in any dispensation or that is demonstrated by any individual is the sum total of that dispensation or of that individual.
Exactly.
All right? Everybody has their ups and downs.
Exactly.
As I always say, there is no perfection does not exist in the human domain.
No, it doesn't.
And as such, you will get shortcomings in people, and because of man's imperfection, whatever it is that man put together is going to have its issues. I mean, look at how good the technology is, and look at the challenges that we had today. Look at the challenges that we had today. We started off good, and well, to get started was one thing. Then we started off, and then everything crashed, and we had to start all over again.
Yep.
Because technology, as good as it is, So that being the case, I don't see why. I mean, it cannot be justified to say that, well, okay, I did not support the revolution, so whatever good that the revolution demonstrated, I'm not going to participate on, I'm not going to use it now for the building of my country or for the upliftment of my people, right? To increase the production level, to get more people empowered.
Yeah.
Okay. And I do not, and such people, anyone taking such a position, therefore, do not really care about the country.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
You know, anyone taking such a position are not genuine.
They're not.
About national development.
Exactly.
It's not simple. There's no two ways about it. Yeah, as far as I see. And if anybody could come with an argument that can dispute what I'm saying, or that can lay to rest the point that I'm making, well, come with it.
Yeah. I say the same thing all the time.
Yeah, come with
Prove
it.
me wrong. Prove me wrong.
You know?
You see, Pablo, one has to understand that. Look at what happened. The Batarante was sold. Liat is in trouble. Imagine if Grenada had kept the airline going. Now would be a perfect time to use that airline through the Caribbean, with well managed, well greased from the government. It could be. You see, I have this belief that state enterprise could be set up. Right? The state doesn't have to run it. You have independent managers running the operation like a business, but the profit must go back to the people. Understand? So the government doesn't have to run the airline. They could set up a state enterprise to run it. In Canada, for example, they have a transit commission. The government don't run it. The commission run the transportation system. Right? They run it. They have a TTC, they have a GO truck, and they have VIA rail. Right? All government owned, but not controlled. Not run by them. It's state set it up, but it's state they run it. You understand me? But they're making money. Sometimes they lose money, government put the money into to make sure it keep going. But they provide a service to the people. So it's a service oriented. Even though they lose money, they can't keep it going. They ain't get rid of it because the people need the service.
Well, not just the people need the service. The service is the platform for the rest of the economy.
To keep the economy going.
This movement of people, the rest
exactly.
of the economy will grind to a halt.
What the government is willing to 450. Yeah, the government is willing to sacrifice monies to ensure that people leave their cars at home to use the transit system, even though you'll be a burden. You understand? So when we get rid of the national transportation system, right? What you saying to the people? Huh? When you're not subsidizing for the old age people, the transportation, what you saying to the people? When you get rid of an agro-industrial plant to manufacture your local herbs and vegetables and so on, to export, you have an international airport that could be able to say today, boom, gone, you reach England the next day or the same day, the morning to evening. You understand? To export your foods and vegetables in a more efficient and effective manner. You get rid of that. The Maclean National Importing Board, how is it, how is it we cannot have a proper functioning body there? So all of those little things and then we see it happen and we see the fallout of them, we see the no concern, so to speak, of it. And today you're talking about Imani program, hotel coming in and so on and so on. We should be eating and growing our foods and vegetables and supplying the food chain to the hotels in Grenada. Our food import bill is too high to begin with. So that has to be addressed from an agricultural point of view. And if we can process our own ketchup, if we can process our own fish and so on and everything, and things that the hotel use, get at least what you use in the hotel. When they come, they don't want McDonald's again. They want Grenadian food, grown in Grenada. Provide that for them, so something different than what they're accustomed to. But we don't. Pablo, I'm telling you something. The Spicer Resort Corporation during the period was set up, and the food and everything was being served in Grenadian dishes. It was that. What happened to that? It was not in their best interest. They don't want to edify the enemies. Good works. If they wanted it, they'd have kept it. They get rid of them. They want the PTS go down and die a slow death. The fishing, the agriculture, the farm school, the fishing industry, what happened to it? You didn't have a e-money program where people just go in and stay there for months and, you know. I remember the fishing school.
You're talking about months, for years. Over 2 years, the Prime Minister had made over 2 years.
But people listening it. Doing what?
He has to find an exit strategy. After having a program that he ran prior to 2008, and he brought back in 2013, and up to now, he hasn't been able to identify an exit strategy for them. What does that tell you?
This government has become...
On top of the fact that that Imani program had been running, and there was no proper certification process in place, right? There was no proper certification element in place for that program. It took an NDC administration to come in, and within 6 months, to establish the National Training Agency that now provides training module and all that kind of thing for the same youth programs that they're having.
You see?
And provides the certification, provide your NVQ and your CVQ at different levels and so. NT, the National Training Agency. And then people turn around and say, oh, NDC didn't do anything while they were in office.
You see, what people want to see is building going up. They want to see infrastructural development to give credit. They look at the intellectual work that is going into place and taking place and setting up systems for checks and balances and ensure that things are done right. See, everything have a root. But they don't concern about the root, they want to see the tree. You understand? And when you see the tree looking for the fruit. But you must have a root to have a tree. And you must have a tree to get a fruit. So if the NDC decided to lay down some groundwork, let some foundation work let it happen. You see, that's why I don't believe, let me tell you something, that's my personal thing about election. I don't believe in election stuff. This 5-year period, it doesn't work for people. The government doesn't have enough time to produce it. And those who've been there for 15, 20 years have not even proven that. And unless you're holding people accountable to the people coming and say, question them for what they say. Okay, we say, in my constituency, I'm going to be doing this over the next 5 years. Within the first 6 months, they should be questioned. Every month. How the project going? What you know what I mean? Ask them questions, the tough questions. Because people want you, we vote you because of what you said to us. And we have to hold you accountable for those things. And if you're not doing it, time to get out of the way. You see, I don't believe in elected people for life. I believe in service for life. And if you can't serve people, get out of the way and let somebody else serve. Service for life, not elected people for life.
Well, we have a new set of service people, and just to make that point before we close in the next few minutes, I wanted to play a clip that I gave to you there for me, please. Can you play the NGO? I want to touch on this one.
All right, here it is.
Yes, the NGO.
Hello, everyone. I'm Emily Rapier, and welcome to the launch of the Grenada Movement, or as we like to call it, TGM. Over the past few months, there has been much speculation and curiosity about TGM, who we are, and what we intend to do. TGM is a group of like-minded, patriotic Grenadians bonded by the fundamental belief that all Grenadians deserve a good life and are entitled to the equitable distribution of resources, irrespective of political affiliation, class, or creed. We have created a forum for the discussion of the issues which plague our nation with a view at arriving at consensus and solutions designed to improve the lives of the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique.
All right.
Brother John, did you watch that launch?
I watched the video.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I think I sent it to you last night too. The video.
It was a very well produced event.
Yes.
One must say. Yeah, it was a very well produced event. You know, the first thing that struck me after the prayer was said, they brought in a young man, is a young man that I saw do a bit of poetry some months ago, and I applauded him. He's good. He's one of those word geniuses. And he did a bit of poetry. And in that poem, he spoke about people coming from overseas as investors and coming with their checkbooks and coming dressed in a particular way, and our administrations just giving way to these people. I'm paraphrasing here. And you know what came to mind immediately? Is that the leader of that launched NGO / political movement, and I will always be referring to it as NGO / political movement, is that leader was the main spokesman for the ruling administration in the aftermath of the 2013 elections. There are clips of him being on the campaign platform, maligning Nazim Burke, having maligned Tillman Thomas, making false allegations against these people. Yeah? Buying into and perpetuating and peddling the claim that Nazim Burke built 3 houses, which we know to be an absolute lie. And he was there speaking that on the platform. We can share video clips of that. And you know, he was the one in the aftermath of the election who made the favorite comment that Grenada is open for business. Walk with your checkbooks and come. So when that young man doing that bit of poetry and speaking about people coming with the checkbooks and the administration of the day, just giving in to them, and so that was the first thought that come to mind. That the leader of the entity, that he is there to help to launch. Yes, that it is so ironic that that bit of poetry that he was presenting is so at odds with what that leader has been standing for, has stood for. Yeah?
You see,
what has changed?
You know something?
How does he demonstrate to us that that is no longer his agenda? And I question this quote-unquote NGO, and I'll always refer to it as NGO / political movement.
Great.
You know, with people like the Michael Churches of Grenada. You know?
Yes.
And I mean, I see that very eloquent Ashida Charles. She's associated with them. I had her on the program a couple of weeks ago. You know, I did send her a message congratulating her on the launch of her NGO / political movement. You know, and wishing her all the best. I mean, are they taking that NGO position because as an NGO, you're able to source financing from sources that would not contribute to a political organization? Is that one of the reasons why they're taking that position? Because essentially they're all about getting into the political mainstream of this country.
Is this the same lady that you had on the show last time on Saturday, right? That lady, the same person? Is she the same person that you had on the show last time? The lady?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. My I listened to her. It's kind of to me, I really like the lady. I really like her position that she took.
Oh yeah, I admire too. I do.
I really.
That's why I asked her to come on the program.
Somehow, I tell you something, we have to be very careful who encouraging us to do what we do sometimes. What is the motive behind all of that? An NGO, yes, and I say this all the time, there are clever, minded people out there, and there are intelligent people, and there's educated people. The educated people always been manipulated by the intellectuals, right? The intelligent people, because they are the ones who sit and plan out strategies and hand it over to the educated. Right? Now you have, notice there's something called intellectual mindsets. There are people who sit down and work up schemes, work up and try to counter-attack. We have counter-intelligence. Yeah? You'll come up with ideas, you watch and study other people's movement and so on. And what they'll do, they will recruit people unaware that they recruited for a specific purpose, just to serve their personal interests of the interest of the powers that be. And you might be thinking you're working as an independent person, but in effect, you're very opposition to the power that is. You're working for them, not knowing that you're working for them. You understand me? So in that event, of that whole organization, there's when you look at the makeup of it, like I rightly said, the brother that is in it now, why is he there? What is the rationale for being there now? You see, why is certain people leave and go to NDC now? Why is they involved in the movement then? So a lot of questions, people just embrace everybody into the movement in the organization, not understanding the whole mindset behind being there. There is persons who will get involved in organization just to benefit a certain system. Operatives, I call them operatives. They will come to your country, are married to people in your country, just to get into the political and economic structure, to understand how the system works. So they become part of the movement, become part of the system, and they study everybody in the community so they know how to destabilize it. They don't come just for the welfare, for the sand, sea, water, and sand. They come for more than that. So any upheaval, anything, they know how to which group to target. And they know how to manipulate and use people, well-meaning, well-adjusted persons who have great at heart. And before they know it, they're sucked into a cesspool of conspiracy and not even being aware that they've been drawn into it.
All right, Brother John. Well, we have run out of time.
Yes.
So at this point in time, we'll bring Comfort Zone to a close for today. It's a pity that we couldn't go ahead with Adrian Thomas, and that Murphy decided to behave badly today. Of all days anyway, but we'll be having Adrian Thomas back sometime.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll be able to have a better conversation next time without all of those technical glitches. Thank you to those of you who chose to join us this week. Hope that you continue to be here with us to share those those programs. It's also up. I usually put it up on YouTube, so it's easy for people to access it now, even if they're not on Facebook. Thank you, John Callis, for allowing me that opportunity, as always. And I will be speaking more about that NGO. I will be having that NGO under scrutiny because I am curious to see how that NGO is going to operate and how that NGO is going to unfold in the country, because I'm telling you, this really jumped at me. Bring your checkbook and come. What has changed? Have a good evening, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, Pablo. Again, this is Gem FM, operating from Hotel Grenada, right here with Pablo, Raphael, Paul. I get Pablo in easy tonight.
Hey.
All right, folks, join us back tonight at 8 o'clock for Talking Point Round 2, discussing the Minister of Tourism statement about beaches, our beaches being rented out, so to speak, I can't rent it out for 2 or 3 hours to the tourist industry. All right, so check us out tonight, right here on Gem FM.
Get out of your comfort zone. The fear that you're not confronting cannot take your life away. The game of life out there waiting for you to come out and play. I tell you, get out of your comfort zone. I know it takes plenty courage to start all over again, but patience and real perseverance could bring you positive gain. I tell you, get out of your comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone. I know that blessing you. So, get out of your comfort zone. Ay, 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 get out of your comfort zone.
Tonight, again, right here on Jim FM. I'm out of here, folks. Pablo, good afternoon again. See you guys tonight, and have a blessed evening. One love.
Saturday, October 10. Where is Saturday, October 3?